Hey, what's up, guys? This is T-Bone here, and welcome to our Thursday stream here. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I was working on some other stuff at the same time as well, and time just kind of got away from me. And so, what I wanted to do in today's episode, Psychological Warfare, welcome to the stream here. What I want to do in today's episode really is I kind of want to focus on a couple of things. Mainly, I wanted to help people understand the mechanics of this deck. I think that a lot of people have been asking a lot of questions on how to actually use this effectively. Now, a disclaimer, I don't actually have the full deck, but I think that I understand it well enough to be able to help you understand what you need to do. So we can kind of talk about it, and then maybe we can spend a little bit of time kind of also talking about like how has things actually changed since we last met on Tuesday, when we had the preview on the event. It's been a couple of days now, and so how has things been for everyone? So let's take a look there. And we also got some more people here: Dejaya, Rockdeed, Angel, Dawn, and Daylight Runner. Welcome to stream. All right, so first things first. What I want to do is talk about the cards here, right? So when we did a preview, we talked about the ultra rare card and the ultimate form and all of these cards. But I think ultimately, if you don't have this card, Circuit Break Hilaria, your damage isn't going to be as good. Like, this card is literally the difference maker. And so you can see I actually have 3 copies of this card. That's because I managed to pull her from the 25% trophy collection. And so I'm looking for ways to utilize her and 2 copies of the support card. The name of the game with this type of deck is going to be intensity. Like, more so than any other deck, this deck requires intensity to work. And in this particular case, you can actually use your passive skills of this main card to your advantage. So if you take a look at her passive ability, she will create 4 Power Gem 3s every 3 turns, and it will be upgraded to Power Gem 4s if you have the ultra rare card as well. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to play this type of deck. I'm going to use what I have to explain a little bit. And there are a couple of things that we also need to address. Like, we need to address issues with like health, right? The boss still deals a ton of damage. So 1 key really isn't a good option for a lot of people. And so what you can do. And, when you're doing 3 keys, then what are some of the options there? And now, of course, there's overkill and all this stuff. A lot of complicated things that have been reintroduced in this particular event. And so, yeah, it's there's a lot of information. And I think some of the newer players still have questions on it. So let's go over and talk about that. So we've got Herman and Lena as well. Westwolf, welcome to the stream. And Lena, nice to see you live here as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use this deck first. So this is a 2 support, 3 main deck. And this only works for me for 2 reasons. One, I have really good health because of this particular setup, because I have a 600% health boost. And I'm also using relics that boost my health. Okay, so I also have relics that increase the health of my team. So you can see here I have a flat health increase, as well as like this one, and also my other Staff of Ray. So like I'm doing, I'm giving myself more health. And another thing I could do if I wanted to was I could even add in a shield. Right, so if you wanted to add in a shield to give yourself even more health, that is also a possibility. So you can sort of see here, like shields give you additional increase, but this only works in GVG. I'm not sure why it actually applies there. I just realized that it shouldn't be a relic that you can use. So I'm going to go back and change this to my Fire Commander, and I'm going to throw in this one right here. Now, another thing that I'm using here, if you have something like this, you should consider using, like back in Generation 3 days, there are some relics that give you immunity. So this is the one from the Nicole deck, the Water Nicole deck that you get a immunity. So I'm using this heavily. You should also think about using a revive card. This is not the type of deck that can benefit from a revive relic, unfortunately, because there's there's some restrictions. So cards that can give you revive is going to be Brari or Ovi Brute. I don't have Brute, but you can also get Brari for revival. So Aaron Delgado got a question: is a Dust Shop worth for new people? Dust Shop is only if you need it for collection purposes, but we haven't seen any collection that's needing old heroes. So I would say Dust Shop is not as worth it unless you're looking for specific cards like Aladdin or Wicked Queen, things like that. Otherwise, it's just save your dust at this point. Only use it when you need to. I got Victor and Zuzumak as well as we got more people. We got Mount Fillmore, Vishal, and Renisha. Welcome. All right, so let's go ahead and do a fight. I'm going to use, let's see, do I have enough keys? I do. So I'm going to use 3 keys because this is not really like a great 1 key type deck. It has to be 3 keys because I'm taking advantage of several things. So what would I do? I guess... if I were to use 3 keys, I would go against the medium boss, but I probably won't be able to take it up. I'll just kind of show you how this works. It'll be a good way to talk about sort of the mechanic itself, and then we can sort of change the team to like what are some of the other teams I'm using for 1 key, etc. So I'm going to use 3 keys here. And now with all of my relics and everything, I have 1.9 million health. And so this is going to allow me to survive a little bit. And like I said before, intensity is going to be key here. All right. So as much as possible, you want to activate your support cards so that you can gain the intensity. It doesn't matter whether you match gems or not, actually, because this is not there's no dependency on you actually matching gems. And so what you want to do is you just want to quickly get to the point where you could actually increase your intensity again. And so notice that every 3 turns, your main cards will also provide 4 power gems. So that's 12 power gems total, including any other relics there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to activate this one more time. And I'm going to wait for, I'm going to have to wait for 3 turns before I can activate this again. Because what I want to do is I want to actually activate more. And at this point, what I want to do is I want to actually save my gems. You want to play the game where you're saving your power gems as much as you can. And it looks like I've already got that. So I need to wait 3 more turns from here. So what I need to do is I need to wait for this to all be available. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be preserving my power gems, and so that when I actually am ready to use everything, I will have enough power gems to fill up the board. So here you go. We are actually close to filling up the board. I'm going to activate all of this, and then I'm going to use the support card to fill up the rest of the hole here. So this is, sort of like the most damage I can do with this team, but you can see my intensity levels is at 210. Okay, I couldn't quite take it out here, but that's okay. I just wanted to show you how I use this. So intensity is at 210. Notice I only have support cards and I have event cards, and I was able to deal up to about 8 trillion with that particular setup. And that is because you need your intensity to be high enough, and these stack, right? So all of these attack boosts, they stack. So at 200 intensity, you're essentially getting an additional 100% attack on top of the 200. So you're getting 300% attack boost, and then multiplied by 3 because I have 3 main cards. That's 900% attack boost for all of my Arcane Killer cards. You can see it makes a big difference, right? And so that's how I was able to deal so much damage. And the key here is to survive long enough though to use the passive ability. So you can see I couldn't quite take out the medium there, and that's actually not what I would recommend you do. Like, I don't recommend you actually focus on the medium bosses. They're not key. What's the word I'm looking for? They're not productive. Like, it's not a key positive trade. Like, you're actually wasting a lot of your keys for sort of you're losing keys on the potential you can get for the trophy output from your overkill and your ultra kill bosses, and also just with 1 key taking out the small bosses will allow you to build up the overkill faster, and you can get more trophies that way. And also, like you can see here with this team, I already need to use 6 keys to take down the medium boss. It's just not worth it. Okay, so medium bosses, unless you have like I would say this. I know people who have the full event team and they are skipping the medium bosses because it's just not key effective. So you should just not bother with them. The introduction of overkill and ultra kill bosses is making the medium bosses kind of useless, I guess. And for those of us who don't have the full event team, the medium bosses are just too high health to really bother with. And so focus on the smaller bosses and try to take out the overkill bosses is going to be probably your best bang for the buck. And let's see, psychological warfare. Does the Nicole relic have to be 3 pink stars for immunity? So I think it's 3 pink stars. Like, I got really unlucky and lucky at the same time, because I was pulling and pulling and pulling for a Nicole ultra rare card, and I never got her, but I kept getting relics. So that's how I was able to get her. There are other relics that do have that, but like, what this allowed for me was the initial hit. But I didn't actually need this particular relic in this setup, because I could survive long enough to actually take another hit. So I could have actually used another relic here. And so the support cards, they heal for 2% of max health every turn. That's why I try to boost my health as much as possible. I even consider potentially awakening one of my support cards just to get more health out of it. But I'm still kind of toying with the idea right now. But like you can see, with 2 million health, or close to 2 million, I was getting basically 20,000 health per support card. So it's getting 40,000 health, but it was just, and then times 5, like it's 200. I was getting basically 200%, 200 health back. And it's just not high enough for the amount of damage that the boss is dealing. So I wasn't quite healing fully, but it allowed me to bring up my intensity a bit higher. So this is one of the teams that you can do. Now, if I talk about what are some of the other options for one key? Well, again, like, this only works because I have this card, but you can also use a turn delay card to some effectiveness. So you can use a Full Clan Bomber, for example. So Full Clan Bomber is a turn delay card that will delay the turn by 2. And really, with this type of setup with one key, it's all about surviving until turn 3. That's all it is. It's all about surviving until turn 3. And if you can do that, then you can deal more damage here. And so with this particular setup, with my relic, I can have 1 turn of immunity and 2 turns of turn delay, and I'll be able to deal damage there. So I'll show you both cases. I'm going to start with the turn delay. So like, for example, if you have this deck, but you don't have 2 ultra rares, technically you can actually use, you can't use the support card, because the support card doesn't get immunity until a higher killer intensity, not killer intensity, until commander bonus. So let's go with the turn delay. Remember, you can actually farm this card. You can go to this card at the back here. You can go to 2-2 and you can farm it. Although I feel like they changed the drop rate, because I could not farm this. I spent about 500 or 600 stamina just to get 2 of those cards. All right, so let's go and one key this. We're going to use a one key to do level 222 Defiant Duet. Commonly indeed survive until turn 4. Yeah, right. So there's a three turn cooldown. You need to survive until the beginning of turn 4 to activate all of your cards. So we're going to use this deck, and this is one of those cases where I'm cheating a little bit, because I have a relic that helps me. If you don't have the relic to survive the first hit, then you're going to have to bring in a card that gives you a revive. So then you have a revive, and then you have a turn delay that gives you that will allow you to get to turn 4, and then you can then bring in any other card that gives you as many power gems as possible. It's all about power gem creation. All right, so let's take a look here. So I also have two relics, 2 event relics this time, and so let's go ahead and do this. Right, so this is with one key. And I'm going to survive the first hit. And now what I could do is I need to actually use my, I actually need to use the immunity, because there's also poison. Poison is just really, really difficult to deal with. And so I can actually survive this, clear all out. And now I'm going to activate this where I can get 2 turns delay. And then at the end of this is when I'll be able to actually, at the end of this, I'll be able to take advantage of my skills here. And so I'm going to activate another skill to fill out the board, and I'm going to activate these. You always want to activate your event cards once you have enough power gems. And so with this setup, with a single key, I'm able to deal over 900 billion with a single key. So this is, this is a good way to be able to help out if you have this deck. It's just the problem is you need to have Barari, right? So you need Barari, or you need a card that can survive your first hit. So if we had, the thing is, if I look at the codex and the fire card that dispels poison, counter skill poison. Like if you're up against poison, if you're up against the boss that deals with poison, then you can use Ray. Ray is another option that can also dispel poison. Although that means you're going to have less power gems to use, but it's better than nothing. Okay, and so you're gonna have Ray, and then you're gonna have a turn delay, and you have Barari to actually revive. So you might not deal quite as much damage, but you can also use the support card. Okay, so that's another option, is that you could choose to then also say put in the support card for the poison, and then if you have this ultra rare card, you should definitely use it so you can get immunity. If not, then you should use you'll need Barari for revive, and I don't think I have him. Let me see. All right, so let's see how much damage we can deal if we were to use that setup. So it's going to be fire creature. So with fire creature, this is going to be Barari. And funny enough, if you use the Blitzkrieg beasts, for example, to give you more power gems, then you can use the creature helm. There's a relic that does give you a free revive if you have a creature card. So this will also work if you have that. So let's go ahead and buy back Barari. And then let's put this in and see how this works, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to put in Barari, and we're going to take out this relic. And if I take out this relic, then I'm going to want something that gives me more damage. And so there's 2 relics there, and I'm going to put in, instead of this card, I'm going to swap it for Barari. So this way I have a revive and I have a turn delay, and then I'll be able to take advantage of these 3 cards. And let's see if this works out. So let's take a look here, and let's one key here, see how much damage we'll be able to take out, be able to deal with this setup. It's going to be less for sure, but let's see how we do. Nicola, welcome to the stream here. So with the support and the immunity hero, I might not need a turn delay. I'm not sure with a single key. I'm not sure I have enough health, to be honest. We can always try it, right? So here is going to be the first hit. So you can see I don't actually survive, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and now do a turn delay. And let's just wait for 2 more turns. Actually, I think just 1 more turn, and I'll be able to get my... Yeah, 1 more turn, and I'll have my my power gems come out. So it's not going to be quite as much, right? Because I just don't have a lot. But I can at least, create some... This is not going to deal nearly enough damage because I don't have the... power gen spawn from my relics there. And so what I have there is I have relics that don't give me any power gems, and that was the thing I needed to change. So that was the thing. So I need to actually focus on getting relics that can give me power gems. So the cards I have are creature, and I have creature as well as creature, and what is it again? What did they change that to? It's whatever dwarves got changed to. So let's take a look at creature. So I have at least 1 relic here. So this is something that you'll have to kind of do. You have to use these other relics to give you more power gems so that you can actually deal a little bit more damage. But I feel like in this particular setup, it's not quite strong enough to 1 key, and so you're gonna have to use 3 keys. But 3 keys should be more than enough for you to be able to take out this boss. So if you're using 3 keys, you may not even need a revive with a support card, and let's see, you may not actually need revive or turn delay, or you might want to have a turn delay, and then you might want to have a second, or a second support, or a gen spawner. So Thoth, for example, would be a good option. Although Thoth won't give you, because you can't generate power gen force. So there's a lot of different options. That's just trying to kind of think live on what we could potentially do. So let's see. So with this, I think what I want to do is let's try this with 3 keys. And I feel like with 3 keys, I probably just need the turn delay. So I'm actually going to change this to support card. And what I'm going to do also is I'm going to try 3 key this time on this boss. So, one nice thing is we have a lot more keys to play with this event. So it's not quite as bad. And you can see we have 1.1 million health here, and we should be able to take this down pretty easily. Okay, and you can see we already deal enough damage. You can see we're healing for more than enough, so we don't actually need the turn delay, to be honest. Look at this, like I can actually heal fully. Yeah, so in this case, having 2 support cards, you don't even need to worry about it. Okay, and I think that what I'm gonna do here is what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna try and save some of my power gems. So you can see I didn't actually match everything. Instead, what I did is I did the minimal match I could, and I'm going to wait for 3 more turns. In this case, I'm just going to do this, because what I want to do is I want to maximize the number of power gems I can have on the board, right? So this is like what you want. I think this is how you want to play this. And now we're going to have our power gems spawning. So the power gem is going to spawn, and then we're going to go ahead and now activate the support cards to try and fill up more, and we'll be able to take this out with this setup pretty easily. Again, turn delay card is actually not required if you're going up against a low level boss. Okay, it's just up against like the really high damaging bosses that you're gonna need the turn delay if you're using 1 key. But if you're gonna do 3 keys, then you should have no problems. And this is sort of the mechanics and how you want to play this. So like in this particular example, if you didn't have any other cards, then you should just put in another card that's going to give you more power gems. That's what I would recommend. Any card that gives you power gems, I recommend one that is I can actually put this card in actually. Any card that gives you power gems as a commander would be bonus. So I'm just taking a look at some of the older chats here. And so, Angel 111, you notice that they took the gold trial coins away from the collection as a reward. I see. I guess I didn't notice that. So you're saying that we have less coins for the gold trials. That would suck, because people need that for their rewards, right? I didn't see that. Let's take a look at the collections, right? So you should be getting 20. I might have already collected it, but let's see. You should have 20 at least. But yeah, I don't even see here. I mean, like right now their focus is on giving you as many evolution coins as possible, because that's the one thing that we can't do is evolve our cards. So Mount Fillmore feels very Gen 2. That's exactly what it is, except the bosses hit so hard you can't actually increase intensity, so that makes it really difficult. And it feels like Gen 4 trillions of damage soon goes quadrillion. We've already hit people with quadrillion damage, actually. And Jim Paulson, so you got a deck that you wanted to critique on. And Westworld, you have the full team. Medium box makes no sense. They use far more keys and drops less trophy in the overkill. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, you don't need to focus on the medium bosses. Just focus on the small bosses if you can. And then take out the overkill, right? So, like, in this case, I can use 3 keys to take out the overkill with that particular team that I just showed you. With this team, with this team I just showed you, where it's 2 support and 2 event card. And if you could put in another, power gen spawner, you could probably get some overkill here, right? In fact, let's try it out. I just need to get some more keys. I've run out, so give me 1 second. Let me farm some keys. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to farm a few. I'm not going to farm too much, but as you go through these events, these maps, you also get more of the evolution coins. So if you're still having a hard time evolving your cards, make sure you go through all of these maps. The more you do, the more coins you get, right? So now if we do obviously, with overkill bosses, we're already in like 3 key land, right? And this one is going to get us over 63 per level, right? So we're going to get over 240 million just by doing this. And I'm going to try this team. So this is 2 support, 2 main card, and I'm gonna change this. So swap to a fire commander, and I'm going to use one that will I forget which one it was now. Was it this one? It's almost a giant. Yeah, it's this one, right? So I'm going to switch this out to use this, and I don't have any other relic that give me power gems, but this should be okay. So let's give this a try and see how we do, right? So same idea. We want to maximize the number of power gems that we can use, and this is the trick that you want to think about. Like once you can survive long enough, then you don't need to you don't want to just use your skills right away unless you're on the verge of dying. I don't know how heavy how much the overkill boss hits for. And you can see we actually survive pretty easily. So at this point, like just take your time, build up intensity, and I can even afford to basically do this. Like using the support skills gives you 10 each, right? So this is going to really help build up your intensity. And remember, it's in stacks of 20. So every 20 intensity gets you additional boost to your damage. And so you want it as high as possible. Like we might even see if we can just like bring this to like, we can see if I can bring this to like 400. 600 is maximum. 600 something is the maximum intensity that will get you the max damage. I'm curious how much damage I can do. I actually never did that before. But like you can see here, like I'm not worried about my health. It's just the time. So it's all about just timing, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly do some quick matches here. And so we have 10 seconds here. I have a level, a 5-star and a 6-star relic. So it's kind of, it's a little bit slow in building up the intensity, but it's still okay. I mean, we're at 222 already, and like if we can get to like close to 300, we should be pretty good. And I have to remember to also keep my keep my power gems so that I don't lose all of them. But you also have to make sure that you have to make sure that you actually match enough so you don't end up like overwhelming yourself with too many power gems that you end up maybe like swapping them and losing them all before you can actually use them. All right, so one more turn and we're good to go. And so let's go ahead and wait for this to activate. And now we're going to go ahead and activate all of these cards and then activate our support card. And let's see how much damage we can do. With 314 intensity, we should be able to deal more than enough to get at least, yeah, we still get probably close to 10. I would say 9 trillion probably with that setup. Yeah, so close to 10 trillion with that. So that's how you would want to play this, and the higher the intensity amount, the better. So this is where like having more relics is going to be helpful as well. And so Jim Paulson, you have a deck that you wanted me to take a look at, and also Husky as well. So Husky, you're in my guild, so I could take a look. Right, I can take a look right now. And Jim Paulson, I will take a look at yours. I think it's Dark Arcane X, if I remember correctly. And so let's take a look at your Fire Commander cards. Like it is a card that is worth going for, the main card. Okay, so this main event card is definitely worth going after. And so I see you already have, is this the support? No, this is the, yeah, so you have the ultra rare card, and so you definitely should put this in. You have your 2 support cards. Put the 2 support cards and your event card, and then you have this card right here. If you could, then you could. If you don't have, if you're gonna use him, then you should just put in Laurel the Pyromancer, because you get Power Gem 1s. Like it's not Power Gem 3s, but you should just use these 5 cards. You can play the same way I did. You'll have enough health to survive the hits. Use 3 keys and use your ultra rare card on turn 2 so you can get more power gems. And then when everything passively spawns power gems, you should be good to go. So that would be the team I would use. It's a 3 key type deck, and you're not going to be going up against medium bosses, so you should be fine. And I think the other person that wanted to ask was Jim Paulson, and let's make sure. So yeah, Dark Arcane X. Now, the thing is, like, if you're planning on doing 1 keys, I don't think there's a lot of options for you unless you have relics that can actually help you survive. But with 3 keys, I think that the amount of keys that they've sort of increased for you to be able to get helps. Just not worrying about using 3 keys or not. Like the point is you can make progress. And if you stop worrying about the medium bosses, then I think you should have more options. All right, so let's take a look and see what you've got. Now, are you saying that you have a pretty good team? You just want to see about a critique? And so you have a similar setup I have as well, but you don't have the event card. I would highly recommend getting the event card, honestly. So, do you have it? You just don't have it. Oh, you just don't have it evolved. Okay, so you don't have it evolved. It's at 5 stars. I was gonna say if you have it, you should definitely get it for 1,700 gems. This card is a difference maker. Like this card is very useful in any arcane killer situations. So I would recommend, especially with the reduced price, up to tier 4, I would definitely go for that card. And now I can't see if you have your deck set up in, if this is the one that you have, then I don't know that I would want Franca the Motor Girl here over the main card. Like the main card is what gives you the damage boost, and that's what is going to give you higher damage output. And so I would almost be tempted to forego Magma Ventrix in favor of, or I should say, I would almost be willing to forego Isadora. So I would get rid of Isadora and put in the main card in there because you're going to be able to get damage boost, and you're going to be able to boost the main card itself, and you're going to be able to boost Magma Ventrix as well as Franca. And with your ultra rare cards ability, you're going to have 6 power. You're going to have how many power gems? You're going to have 8 power gems from the passive, and then another 8 power gems from your ultra rare. So you're going to have more than enough power gems that you don't need Isadora. So in your case, take out Isadora, and you should definitely get the relic as well to boost your intensity. Even if it's just one relic, it's going to help. Okay, so definitely go with the relic for this particular setup. Take out Isadora, put in the main card, focus on evolving her to 6 stars, and you're going to have a significant increase in your damage. You're going to see it's night and day. Putting in the event card with the boost, like right away you get 200% damage boost. Okay, and that's 3 cards that you're going to be able to boost, and it's going to make a huge difference. Actually, yeah, 200%, 2,000% because you times it by 10, 2,000% bonus because of it. So take out Isadora, put in your circuit breaker, and you're gonna have much easier time taking out bosses. So let's see if there's any other Magitech. Thank you guys. Magitech is what dwarves and dwarves got changed into. That's the one thing I couldn't remember. All right, so the giant how to kill ultra kill. So ultra kill bosses are big and scary, right? So you can see here at ultra kill level at 225, I could still take it out, although I will not be able to take it out. I will not be able to get any additional overkill, but I could do this. I could do this one, right? So with the team I just showed you, I was able to deal over 7 trillion, so I can definitely take this out. Once it gets to level 300, where the health is somewhere in the order of I don't remember exactly how much it is, then you shouldn't, if you don't have the team, you shouldn't think about having to go with the addition overkill. Like just the fact that you can do 1 kill for an ultra boss, that's almost 500. That's almost 500 million trophies right there. Okay, and yes, getting the 500% is good, and you get additional bonus on that. But honestly, if I can get 7 trillion on this boss, with this team, I'm happy about it. I'm really happy about it. And yes, this is going to take a lot of trophies to take down. And honestly, I think that if you can, let's see, if you do this, let's say it's 3 attacks, right, to take down 1. 3 attacks, that's 27 keys. 27 keys for 500 trophies, 500 million trophies. You have to sort of calculate your cost benefit ratio to how much trophies do you need to advance or to keep where you are. I think that it might be okay, given that there's really no other bosses that you're gonna need this key for, unless you're focusing on the other lane. I'm not really focusing on it, so all of my keys are sort of saved for my ultra kill boss. And so just focus on what you can. And I think that two main cards. This is the one rare case where I promote more than one of the event cards. Getting two would be ideal. So if anybody has gotten one from the care package, go for the second one for sure. And if you have the gems, so keep in mind, right? Keep in mind that it costs you 1,700 gems to go to tier 4. And if you wanted to go to tier 6 for the second main card, that is going to be another 3,800, right? So if you have another 3,800 gems and you feel like you want something that's going to make a difference, it wouldn't be a terrible investment to get this card. I'm not asking you to chase anything. I'm only saying this because there is a guarantee at tier 6. I think that it is something that would be useful in other situations as well. However, if you're happy with one, then stay with one. One is more than enough as well, but two kind of compound. It just compounds your ability to deal higher damage. And so, John Wilson, you have a relic that has divine intervention, so that means you're going to be able to survive the first round of hits. Use that against the big bosses, because that is going to help you reduce the damage you take. So Westwolf, you're currently global number 7. You have the 3 key bosses. I think there's a little bit of balancing. That's true. But I think we're also really used to just one keying bosses for a very long time. And so here's my thought, right? Because of the reduced prices of the decks, and because it is also a guarantee at tier 4, I feel like if you have other power gen spawners and you're okay with 3 keying, you're probably in a much better spot than you have ever been since Generation 4 started, in my opinion, right? This is one of those things where if you're okay with 3 keying, I think you're probably better off. Like, you're not going to be able to do like the huge bosses because they are still like dealing way too much damage. But I feel like it is balanced a little bit better because we have more keys. Like, if this was like really, if we're a super key start, for example, then yeah, it's ridiculous. But I don't feel key starved. In fact, like, I haven't even used up all of my tokens to get more keys just yet. So I don't feel I don't feel as terrible. And I'm also not like spending all my time fighting bosses. So I'm able to get like a nice balance for the fights here. And so this particular event, and I think it's because the event card is so critical, and that's actually the card that we're able to obtain, right? It's not the ultimate form. Like, I don't care about the ultimate form card. I don't really care about the ultra rare card, although I wish I got it from tier 2. But honestly, those event cards made the difference for me, and so to me, like, that is what's more important. And I feel like we could help people build a better deck with that option, because all you need is power gen spawners and a support card to give you the additional health. So let's see. John wants to know, let's see, you got your shirt the other day? All right, that's awesome. And we can take a quick look here. So Vicar Imar Senior. How does the shirt fit? Does it fit you well? I hope by this point everybody has gotten the shirts I've sent out. And if you haven't, just make sure to let me know. I believe they've all been shipped and are should be available now. So I think, if you have it, then I would say that the basic sort of meta would be 2 support, two main card, and like another power gem spawn or something like that, or 2 support card, 1 event card, and any other power gem. Like, any of those combinations or any arcane killers, I think it's gonna give you enough heal with enough health, and 2 support cards on the 3 key attack will give you enough health regeneration as well, unless you're fighting a medium boss. But then again, a medium boss isn't worth it. So you should go against your smaller bosses, and you should go against the overkill bosses, because that is where you're going to get the most trophies for your keys. So don't waste your time on the medium bosses. Just focus on 3 keying and then taking out the bosses here. So here we have so I see you have 2 supports, and you have a event card, and you have two Slayer cards here. I want to see if you have better commander options, because I think that's going to be a little bit better for you. And so let's see. So we've got the Engulf Pandora. I think that is a support card, right? No. This one will create... This is that ultra rare card, so that gives you 4 power gem 2s. And honestly, like if you can get more commander bonus, that's actually going to be a little bit better. Yeah, Servants of Savagery. So I would not recommend this because this at most gives you 5 power gem ones and isn't really a great card to use. So I would say instead of your Deathbolt of Despair, keep the beast, right? But then I would probably put in your engulfed Pandora because you get additional 5 times commander bonus. It makes a difference. It actually will make a pretty big difference to how much damage you can do. Or another option is get a second support card in there and replace one of your cards so that you get more health and you get, oh, you already have 2 supports, so you only have one event card. And then in this case, I would probably take out one of your 2 Slayer cards and put in the ultra rare card that gives you more bonus. And don't mix Slayer and Commander relics. You should never mix Commander and relics is one of those things that you shouldn't mix Slayer and Commanders for. You should only put in the Commander relics if you have them. And in this case, you're putting in all Slayer relic, and that's making your Arcane Killer cards actually lose damage. So instead of that, I would rather put in Commander relics and boost your cards instead. Like you're losing a lot of damage with this setup because you're not boosting your cards well enough. Okay, so take that into account and let me know how it works out. And Phoenix, let's see. So I can take a look at your team. So Phoenix 3. And again, like if I missed anybody while I'm looking through the chats here, just let me know again, and I will jump back and take a look. All right, so Phoenix 3. Let's see if you have your team on slot 1. All right, so I see you have Magma Ventrix, which is good, and you have Thoth, and then you're also using Deathbolt of Despair, and so, but what I see is you're using I guess you're using Deathbolt of Despair plus the Chakram for 1 key potential, right? So if that's a 1 key potential team, it looks like that works well, which is good. I think that another thing that you might want to consider then is if you wanted to do 3 keys, you might consider changing that up a little bit, just based on what I'm seeing here. So a secondary support card is going to be worth it, in my opinion. A secondary support card, you have an event card here, and you have the Stone Tech Matriarch, right? So Stone Tech Matriarch only gives you 2 power gems, but let's see. On the 3rd turn, creates 2. I don't think I feel like this. I mean, a way you can use this Stone Tech Matriarch is on turn 1, like as soon as you match everything, you activate this card, because I think what it does is the polarity will increase damage, right, taken by hero. And so if you use Stone Tech Matriarch, it might actually work out in a 3-key scenario where you activate this right away, and I think on the 3rd turn, it will actually align with when your passive skills from your event card will activate. And so you can use that, your event card, support card. So that's basically that's 3 cards. And then you have, I think you also used Thoth in there and Magma Ventrix. So I think that actually might be a interesting mix here, so that you can try taking out Deathbolt of Despair, putting in the Stone Tech Matriarchs, because you also make your opponents take 10% more damage, and then with the boost of your cards, right? So your cards are going to have increased damage output, and you're going to flip you're flipping it so that you make them also take more damage. You'll actually amplify, and I think you'll actually deal a little bit more damage output than this current setup. So that's what I'm thinking. So all you have to do is switch out 1 card here, and then you wouldn't need to use this relic, and you could just replace that with another Fire Commander relic, and that should give you more damage as well. So I think that actually might work out better in your favor. So Joe wants to know if it's great. That's awesome. And so Westwood, how did Commander end up with more keys than Slayer? It's one of those things. I don't know. They still really need more tweaking for sure. So Joni Cap. Okay. You have a pretty awesome name. Is this seriously just a star eye? That's cool. All right, so let's take a look. So you're not using anything except for the support and the event card. So you can see that it's already similar to what I used. Again, my critique here is to not mix Commander and Slayer relics because you're limiting your damage output. Like the damage, you have to think about who's dealing damage. In this case, it's your event cards that's actually dealing damage because they're the ones getting the boost. And so putting in all Commander relics is going to be more beneficial for you. And I see that you're using 2 creeks there. So you might be able to. You probably should be able to get away with just 1, right? So you have 2 supports and 3 event. I guess I didn't take a look at the. I didn't take a look at your cards closely or your teams closely. If you're using this team, I showed earlier already how to play this. Make sure you don't if you don't activate these skills, you're not going to get the damage boost. You're not going to deal that much damage against like a overkill boss. So like you just want to be able to activate and get more. You want to get more intensity buildup. And then activate everything when the intensity is close to like 100 or so, and you can actually deal pretty good damage with this setup. Like you don't even need to change it. Like I think this 5 cards right here is going to be really, really good because they work really well with each other. And this is one of those cases where because a lot of us got a free card, so that helps. And tier 4 is a very affordable one, and I luckily got one for my collection. So that's the only reason I have 3, but like 2 works really well too. So take a look at how I use that because I already showed how we use it. I don't think I'll be able to do that against the Ultra Kill boss though. Would I? You know what? I'm going to sacrifice this just to show you guys if I can actually deal enough damage to take out a Ultra Kill boss with this particular setup. So my setup here is I don't need this. I could actually change this for another relic that boosts damage, and that is going to be this one, right? Let's try this. I'm curious myself. I'm using 9 keys. I don't expect to get any overkill here. Like I need to get to at least 10 over. I need to get to 11 trillion to get any bonus. So I'm not worried about this. And so in this case, like I'm not even worried about whether I'm matching anything. I'm just worried about speed. I want to see how much damage I could take. So like I can heal fully here, right? So this is now all about speed at this point. I'm going to try to get my intensity count up to at least 300, and it's going to help with every 2 turns. Every 3 turns activate the support card, and that's how you're going to get there faster. So let's see how much damage we can actually do playing this way, right? So let's do this. And we're going to activate our support card next. So we're 80s. We're going to be able to get up to 120 or so. It's too bad that my relic is not, my second relic is not a 6-star just yet, but I'm waiting to get my tokens, and I'll get there. So again, our goal is at least 300. That means it'll be like half of our max potential. Obviously, getting to 600 would be better. And with this heal, you can. I could actually get to I can get to 600 intensity relatively easily. It's just, if I can play this faster. More relics help, obviously, and having 2 supports also help if you activate their skill every single time it's available. All right, so let's go ahead and activate again. So we're at 13 seconds, 180. I'll get to 300 no problem. It's just a matter of matching the timing of when the passive ability spawns. Because for this particular setup, I have to wait for the passive ability, so I need to sort of count, right? So this is like the 3rd turn. Okay, so basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one more time, and then I'm going to stop activating my support card so that I could actually match the timing together. Might not be able to get to 5 trillion right away, but what this allows me to do is I can then sort of build up to my next round of hits. Okay, and so that is the beauty of this this play. And so remember, at this point, we want to try and save our power gems. I don't want to match power gems anymore. I want to save as many of them as I could. And so I'm going to, unfortunately, I don't have an option here. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And now all of my passive ability is going to kick in. And so I'm going to, actually, I'm going to activate these first because I want to increase my intensity count first. It's at the time of you activating the cards, that's when the intensity count actually matters. And so how much damage should we do? So we are able to take out, can we actually deal 10? Let's see. If I can actually get 50% overkill, that'll be awesome. No, not okay. So there's no 50. 50% is only for overkill bosses. But you can see I was able to easily, deal over 10 trillion with this playstyle, only using the main card and the event card, a support card and event card, right? And that right there gave me 481 trophies. I mean, that helps. So because the overkill and the ultra kill bosses don't deal quite as much damage, 3 key is going to be easy as long as you use 2 support cards. You're gonna have no problems with heal. You're gonna be able to survive long enough, and you'll be able to deal enough damage. So it's all about just like get your key counts up, and you can see there like because they stack. Remember, it's because they stack. I was able to get 9,000. Is it 9,000? 300 times 10. 3,000 times 3, 9,000. I was able to get 9,000 damage boost for all of my arcane killer cards, and that's why I was able to deal 10 trillion with that. Okay, and so try that out. Use that mechanic to your advantage. Because health is not an issue anymore, build up intensity. This is where practicing your quick matches is going to really help, and paying attention to the 3 turns, knowing when your passive ability is going to spawn is going to be really useful. Like I could have actually gone all the way to 500 intensity perhaps. It would have been harder because I don't have enough relics, but it would have probably dealt. I would have had to get up to 15 trillion to get that 50% overkill. I might have come close. Like I might have just come close to that. Like if I had doubled it, right? If I had gone to 600%, 600 intensity, I could have potentially gone close to 15 to 16 trillion damage, and that would have gotten me the 50% overkill, right? And so that's the power of getting the intensity up with this deck style. All right, so ideas matter. You're using the Dark Arcane Relic to break shields. Yeah, so breaking the shield help because the more shields there are on the board, the less damage you deal. So Aaron Delgado, yes, I will take a look here. So Lost Jester. And just also a quick feedback. If you're like, Circuit Breaker is an awesome card, right? But if you're finding that you're not getting quite as many people using your card for honor points, it's because this card only boosts guild versus guild. So people who are looking for cards that boost their cards are probably less likely to choose that. And so this is a opposite where you have 3 support cards and 2 event cards. It will work just fine because you're going to heal even more than I can, and you'll get your intensity count even higher. So at, I just showed, right, at 300 intensity, I was able to get up to 9,000 damage boost, and you'll get up to 6,000 damage boost. But with 3 cards, you'll be able to get higher intensity count faster. And so then I would aim for even higher than 300. Go for the max 600, right? You should have time to do that. But let's see if there's any other options besides using the 3rd support card. Because I feel like with 2 event cards, you might want to consider using a card that gives you power gems. Infernal Squall, I think, has a chance. No, Infernal Squall, you can. I don't like the idea of using Infernal Squall. So I think in your case, it looks like you're probably just starting out. building up the fire cards. And so in this case, what you have is perfect. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that your passive abilities actually, you use your passive abilities to create power gems, but because you only have 2 of them, you're going to be just generating 2 sort of 8 power gems each time. You want to preserve as many power gems as possible on the board so that the next time the passive ability kicks in, you'll be able to add more to it. And so you'll have to practice it, but the name of the game is you want to fill up the board with gems, and you want to have more power gems as much as possible. And with 3 support cards, you'll be able to create 15 regular gems. So you're going to be able to easily fill up the board. It's the name of the game here is figuring out how to minimize the number of gems that you match so that you can save your fire power gems. With this setup, I think that, and with two of these relics, you're well on your way. I think you should be able to take out quite a bit of bosses. You just have to use 3 keys, because I don't think you'll be able to survive with 1 key. That's the only thing. Let's see. So Westwolf, you're not using any supports, 3 mains, so really only relics generate the intensity. But you have the ultimate form, right? If you have the ultimate form and the ultra rare card, then you just will have to. The support card really is there to generate intensity, but honestly, with the ultra rare card, it would actually be preferred because you get additional stats, like your main card gets boosted, everything gets boosted. So I think that would be not as necessary. Like back in the day when we had the fire. The Quadrilac deck, nobody used the support card for that. But then again, we had immunity with our support cards, so they were actually even more useful. So anyway, so that's the mechanic. I mostly wanted to explain the mechanic of this particular deck because it's very different. Not a lot of people who haven't played with the old Generation 2 deck would know about it, and it's a little confusing for some, and I totally understand. So hopefully this helps you, and also. I thought by showing sort of different combinations that doesn't actually require an ultra rare card or an ultimate form. Like I hope that this sort of helps at least anybody who has some of these cards bring more ideas to help, right? So I'm gonna sign out by saying, like, if you have this setup, okay, if you have this setup with 2 supports and 2 main cards, the other cards that you should consider bringing in are the following. If you have Magma Ventrix, you should definitely bring that in. And obviously any of the sort of, this card right here, Sunflare Mercenaries, if you have that, or if you have Isadora, obviously you should use that. Other cards that are really good to put in here are going to be, Laurel isn't bad because he will create 4 Power Gem 1s. But then aside from that, Thoth is going to be good. Thoth will create 5 Power Gem 2s just because you're not going to be generating Power Gem 4s, right? So you'll get 5 Power Gem 2s there. Ra is going to be... Ra, at this point, like, you shouldn't use Ra unless... if you have Laurel, you should use Laurel over Ra because Laurel is a Gen 3 hero. So he'll at least deal a little bit more damage. But I would say... before moving on to the Gen 2 cards, these are some of the options that you can do. You can even use Ray if you wanted to, because Ray does also have passive spawn abilities. But these options in 3 key, you're going to be able to survive all of the hits. And so you should be able to do well there. And so so Angel using 2 main ultimate form and the ultra rare plus the Sunflare Mercenaries. That's interesting. So if you have 2 main I guess the Sunflare Mercenaries to help build up the power gems count. So I think that's gonna work well. Like, it's the name of the game is all about getting the passive ability to proc. Okay, as soon as you have enough power gems, activate them when the intensity level is high enough, and then just watch it go. Right. This is the deck that is going to make you practice quick matches. Okay, this is actually an interesting deck. If you just forego the 1 key scenario, and if you're okay and willing to use 3 keys to play, I think you'll actually have fun here. And just forget about the trophy count, forget about anything else. I think this is a good deck to practice sort of that I would say kind of a skill that we haven't focused on in a long time, and that is like really, really quick matches to extend the number of attacks you can have. So give it a try. Let me know what you think. Let me, give me some feedback on this particular video here. I think that, if you put it in a different perspective, like despite of all the things that's happening, of all the decks I've seen so far, I think that this one is one that has more potential for more people to have fun. If you sort of think about from a perspective of, hey, you can actually focus on building up intensity, you can deal a lot of damage, and you can actually do some things because you can actually get more keys this time. Not good deck for the Fat Finger. Reaper, tell them to update the TBG store. I think they're gonna update it. I'm not sure if they're gonna update it, refresh the heroes or not. So we'll see. They actually have. They've changed their policy too. So I don't hear anything new anymore. Like whatever news is announced, you guys will hear at the same time I do. So I don't have any inside info. I do still get to talk to them, but they're also thinking about changing the sort of like the members of that inside group. So I don't know if I'll continue to remain on the seat or not. I'll let you guys know. And so let me see. I think that is everything. I don't see any other questions. Chroma sucks. She thought I missed this game more after 3, but not really. Yeah, I understand too. There's different people feel different way, but I think this event at least, 3 keying is more fun than 1 keying in my perspective. 1 keying is just like you can't do anything. You can't survive. You have to use turn delay and all that stuff. But that's sort of like the mentality of like you must use 1 key to do everything. I'm like, throw that out the door. Use 3 keys, and I've had a lot of fun there. Mount Fillmore, I criticize them publicly. They're gonna give me the cold shoulders now. It is what it is. I'm gonna be, I'm always gonna be honest with my opinions. Like that's the only way we can, make things go forward. So anyways, that's it for me for today. Hopefully this has been useful and helpful. And as always, comment down below. Let me know what you think. If there's anything that I missed, please let me know, or if there's any other tips and tricks that you'd like to share, feel free to use the comments as well to share with others. It is always a good idea. I love for people to share their ideas and for the knowledge to be spread across the community. So that is it. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time for our next event where we get Vault. Okay, we're gonna talk about Vault. And I'll sign off by saying, let's not get too excited about the Vault until we actually see the Vault. But I've saved up a lot of gems this time to basically go all in if I feel it's worth it. All right, so stay tuned, keep an eye out, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys. See ya.